So this is my notational analysis for Biomechanics for Sports Assignment 2 by myself, Callum Hill. I'm going to tell you how I'm going to analyse a football match over the following slides. So, task for Assignment 2. So 3.1 is to explain the manual notation systems and electronic notation systems. 3.2 is to justify the performance criteria to be used as part of the notational analysis. 3.3 is to carry out a notational analysis of a sports performance or of a selected individual or team. And 3.4 is to produce feedback for an individual or team based on the notational analysis, providing recommendations on how to improve future performance. So, what is manual notation analysis and electronic notation analysis? So, the analysis of sports performance is a way of observation that entails the assessment of different observations of sports performance. In addition, it is a type of process for which data is therefore consumed and is outlined via examples of successful passes made, successful headers to a teammate, unsuccessful tackles, unsuccessful turning, etc. And these are different types of football techniques to look at during the analysis. Manual notation analysis is a manual format of analysing the sports performance video footage in terms of tactics, strategies and statistics by creating a manual method for processing data. There are examples of manual notation analysis that could be related to a pie chart, a tally chart, or a bar chart as well, etc. An electronic notation analysis is slightly different to a manual, but this categorically is a much faster way of processing data that can be linked to gaining tactics and statistics again from a performer or a team. For example, Dartfish is a reliable example in terms of processing data, as well as Longer Match, which is again another likable source of processing data online via video footage. So those two are, I think, really good examples to actually analyse sports performance. So the advantages and the disadvantages of these systems. I'll start with the manual. So you've got there are a variety of advantages that includes being a reliable source in terms of being cheap and easy to use. So literally, it pretty much takes 10 minutes to do a bar chart, or for instance a tally chart, and it's quite easy to use as well. The disadvantages of this, it could be time consuming and also requires time to create a processing system for analysing the athletes. For the advantages of the electronic notational system, more data can be processed at a much faster duration because it isn't carried out manually. So again, a lot of time management could be what's it from that. The disadvantages for electronic notational system includes that certain types of software that specialises in sports performance analysis could mean that software could mean purchasing. So pretty much you'd have to some websites you'd have to buy. You have to buy it before you actually can use it, and it can mean that it's complex to understand, so it can actually be hard to understand it, and this could be time consuming as well in terms of your analysis. So I touched on this slightly in terms of the examples. So you've got a tally chart and a pie chart for a manual notational system, and also for electrical notational system. I've chosen Sky Sports as an example. So as you can see, it looks like it's Man City, Man United in a match, and it's giving you different types of analysis there for you. So you've got an attempt on target, touches in an opposition box, corners, team distance, in kilometres, etc. This one is Dartfish, so pretty much what you can see, it's you can see, learn and succeed from this. So again, it's quite a good website in terms of analysing sports performance. And this one here is called Longer Match. So as you can see, it sees a group of players in a match scenario, and it's got loads of angles and arrows that maybe players can run into. For instance, this box over here, this player could run into this box, for instance, if this ball was played over there. And again, this box over here could mean a little pocket to go into as well. So I've chosen to analyse and annotate a first half performance from both teams, so 45 minutes. With how I'm going to carry this out will be a format of a tally chart. So I'll be watching the video footage of this match from a YouTube link and analysing the chosen areas that I have chosen on the following slide to analyse the match. The teams I've chosen to analyse are Juventus versus SPAL on the 25th of October 2017 at the Allianz Stadium, which is the home stadium in Juventus. analysing both Juventus and SPL players during the first half of my chosen areas of the game, which will be on the following slide. Juventus are currently top of the division in Italy, with a variety of attacking players to choose from, whereas the other team, known as SPAL, are a team that have recently been crowned the second division champions and are now playing first division football in Italy for the very first time in the 2017-2018 season. So I can imagine this match would be quite challenging for the opposition to play against. So the 5 chosen areas of the game that I'm going to analyse in terms of the match, I'm going to start with a short pass. So this is going to be a 5 or 10 yards of a short pass, and the aim of this is used in football because it allows you to reduce the risk of giving the ball away to the opponent, or in other terms, to gain possession of the ball instead of lose there. And you will see football teams such as Barcelona that would tend to use the idea of a short pass quite a lot during their attacking threat of the game. According to Hughes 1987, when a football player receives the ball, over 80% of occasions he will pass the ball to another teammate, or they will shoot or dribble. The second one is turning in defensive half. So again, I'm going to be looking at both teams in their own defensive half. The aim of this trait is to keep possession of the ball and turn into a free space, which reduces the likelihood possibility of an attacker tackling you and going on to score a goal. To add, it also helps a player to maintain calmness on the ball and helps them to stay with the ball for a longer duration. Defensive headers. The aim of this trait is to head the ball as high and as far away from your own goal as possible. Another way of a defender doing a correct job in clearing the ball away from the goal as much as they can and stop the opposition attacking players from scoring a goal. As an example, John Terry, who captained Chelsea and England, did this trait very effectively to stop the opposition from scoring. So basically his job was to head the ball away from his goal as much as he can, as high and as far away, and this is going to stop the opposition from scoring, for instance. Tackles. So the aim of this trait is to tackle successfully, winning the ball from the opponent whilst out of possession, so without the ball, or it can be the case where you are tackling to win the ball and you're aiming to not hurt the opposition player, so that makes a successful tackle if you haven't done that, if you haven't hurt the opposition player. Long passes in the defensive half, so primarily to stop the opponent from closing you down in an area, which stops you from making a short pass. And another option of this can be switching the ball from one half to the other, or in clearer terms, would be to make a directed lofted ball from one side of the pitch to the other, which creates space and a counter-attacking opportunity for one team to do. As an example, Wayne Rooney, who plays as a central midfielder for Everton, happens to perform this trait quite frequently. Methodology. So, this is my how I'm going to analyse this match. So I'm going to do a manual notation of a tally chart. To process the data, I have a YouTube link to the football match that I've picked in the slide. And then after this, I'm going to put all the chosen areas of my game into a bar chart to make it more clearer. So I believe that the method I chosen is a reasonable one of consuming data, because I managed to pause the video every time the technique was chosen was successful or unsuccessful. There are disadvantages and advantages of this. The advantages of this could be that it was easy to do, set it up within 5 or 10 minutes, the actual tally chart, so that was quite easy for me. But the disadvantages, however, it did take quite a lot of time to actually pause the video and make every sort of analysis for the 45 minutes. So there are benefits and drawbacks of my methodology. So, Juventus versus Spal. So this is the defensive half. Juventus during 45 minutes of play. I've bolded Juventus because this is the team I'm going to be talking about first. As you can see, if you can follow the mouse, short pass 5 or 10 yards, successful, unsuccessful. They managed to do this 54 times in their first half. Sorry about that. And the unsuccessful, they made 6 passes. So altogether, in the defensive half, they made 60 passes, but 54 were successful. Turning in the defensive half, they made 7 turns, and they didn't make any unsuccessful turns, so they were quite good with turning with the ball, as they made 7 successful turns, but no unsuccessful turns. The defensive headers, they only made 4, so 4 successful headers to a teammate, and then the unsuccessful was 2, so 2 unsuccessful headers to a teammate. So this could mean that For instance, defenders headed the ball and it's gone out for a throw-in or to the opposition, and then they made 6 headers altogether. Tackles. So again, they made 4 successful tackles. So they successfully tackled the teammate, not the teammate, the other team. And unsuccessful tackles, they made 2. So they made 6 altogether again. The long passes, they made 16 successful long passes in their defensive half, and they made 3 unsuccessful long passes. So altogether, they did 19 long passes altogether. The next slide is the other team, so the opposition team. So I've analysed both teams in their defensive halves. So this time, the short pass 5 or 10 yards is 38 successful passes for SPAL, and the unsuccessful was 6. So altogether, they did 44 passes in their first half, compared to Juventus's 54. Yeah. And then the turn-in was 1 successful turn. So they just did 1 turn in the first half without it being unsuccessful. Defensive headers was 5 successful headers, but they did 6 unsuccessful headers. So if I can remember, there was a player in the match called Salomon, and basically his role was he was a centre defender for this team, and he basically made the majority of the headers, whether they were successful or unsuccessful or not. And they happened to make 11 of these defensive headers in the first half, so they did quite a lot of defending in terms of trying to stop Juventus from scoring more goals than they already did. Tackles, they did 4 successful tackles, so they made 4 successful tackles in their own half, and 3 unsuccessful tackles that maybe led to fouls or free kicks in that. And then long passes, they made 11 compared to Juventus' 16, which is, for me, that's quite good considering the quality of the players that this team actually has compared to Juventus' quality of players as well. And then 4 unsuccessful passes for the long passes in defensive half. So here is my bar chart. So I've done a bar chart which shows the successful short passes for SPAL and also the short passes for Juventus, and also the unsuccessful ones as well. So I think this is good because it shows that it's a clear analysis, and it shows that Juventus have got 54 and SPAL have got 38. So again, turning. So Juventus did this quite a lot in their area. They made 7 compared to SPAL 1. So I noticed quite a lot in the video footage that they managed to do quite a lot of turns just to keep the ball and pass it to a teammate, where the other team only did this once. Defensive headers, again, SPAL made 5 defensive headers that were successful, and they did 6 unsuccessful headers, which could have led to Juventus scoring from this mistake. Juventus also did 4 successful headers, but they only did 2 unsuccessful headers, so they had less chance of the other team scoring because they only made 2 of the errors. Tackles or fouls if unsuccessful. SPAL did 4 successful tackles as well as Juventus, so they both did the same tackles, and SPAL did 3 unsuccessful tackles compared to Juventus' 2. And then the last one, long passes in defensive half. SPAL made 11 of these passes successful, whereas Juventus did this 16 times. So Juventus had the ball for longer in terms of possession, making the long passes, and also unsuccessful long passes with 4 compared to Juventus' 3. So Juventus are quite good at keeping the ball in terms of the long passes. I'm just going to pause the video as it's coming up to 15 minutes. I'm just going to save the work and carry on from when it gets to 15 minutes.